Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. In today's video, I'll be answering the question, who deserves to win the Ballon d'Or? First of all, we have to talk about the Ballon d'Or trophy itself. I haven't really rated the Ballon d'Or since maybe 2017 or something. Maybe even before that, because the issue I have with the Ballon d'Or, it's given to the player that has been on the most successful team and has also had a good season, rather than the player that has individually had the best caliber of season. All of this started, with the Messi Ronaldo debate, because that's where this Champions League thing came from. It didn't exist back in the day. I saw a stat from like 1990 to 2006. All of the Ballon d'Or winners that in that time did not win a Champions League when they won the Ballon d'Or. Maybe they won a World Cup, a Euro tournament, but majority of it was just having a great, successful season. But unfortunately, now it's more given to, it's basically become more of a team trophy. So like your team has to perform really well for you to win that individual award, which wasn't back in the day. And for me, that devalues the Ballon d'Or, because the Ballon d'Or is supposed to be given, the golden ball is supposed to be given to the best player in the world, not one of the best players in the world at the best team or the most successful team. That basically the team this season that wins the UEFA Champions League, because there's no there's no World Cup, there's no Euros. The only two stuff that could also have a small impact is the Nations League, but I barely think that will have. And obviously, the Club World Cup will be very interesting in the summer. So that's where we're going through it. It's a team accolade trophy, pretty much. It's not Ballon d'Or anymore, in my opinion. And like Rodri, last year, he won it because Manchester City was one of the most successful teams in the world, maybe third or something, second. And obviously, Spain won the Euros, and he was one of their best players. He wasn't the best player in any of those teams, but he was part of those teams. Basically, that's my opinion about the Ballon d'Or. But let's go into who I think deserves the Ballon d'Or, going off those metrics. So, the most possible successful teams this season, that's what we have to look at, is... In Bundesliga, if Bayern Munchen, they are going to win the Bundesliga. Obviously, would not win the DFB Pokal. They got knocked out. And then you got Bayern Munchen into the quarterfinals. And let's see how far they can go. The final is also played in Allianz, so they have a lot of hunger to go to that final. From the Premier League, nobody. It's that simple. Liverpool not got knocked out. Nobody cares what they do in their league. Salah can get all the numbers he wants. Good for him. But as I've said, this award does not look at that. Then you go to Serie A. No. Let's be honest here. Even if Inter wins the Champions League, I don't even think Lautaro would get the Ballon d'Or, because the PR for Inter and Lautaro just isn't that great. We saw him, finish Copa America as the top scorer and having a great tournament. He didn't get anything for that. We had players like Lamine Yamal coming ahead of Lautaro, who had an insane season with Inter and insane Copa America with Argentina. Then we go to Ligue 1, Paris Saint-Germain, obviously competing in all competitions. Already won the Super Cup, into pretty much going to win the league, and into the semi-final of the Coupe de France. We're probably going to win that. And obviously into the quarterfinals, knocking out Liverpool, one of the favorites. Then we go to La Liga. Atletico Madrid got knocked out, which removes them. I mean, Alvarez, yeah, great. If Atletico won the UCL, I could have seen Alvarez give it to, because he has actually good PR, and, a lot of people know about him. Then we go to Madrid and Barca. It's simple. If Madrid win the UCL, and then La Liga can help as well a bit. It's Kylian Mbappe who wins it. That's clear. If FC Barcelona win the UCL, maybe potentially La Liga. And both of them obviously competing in the Copa del Rey as well, which means it would be Raphinha, definitely. But I've seen Barcelona have started to push Pedri PR. And look, for me, the thing is, talking from a Barcelona perspective, whenever I've watched Barca, obviously Pedri is the better player. He's the best player at FC Barcelona. But, Ballon d'Or, as always, has been given out to attackers who have the most impact and efficiency, especially in the bigger Champions League games. I mean, I think Raphinha has like 11 goals, 4 assists or something in the Champions League this season. And he got majority of the, that Ballon d'Or PR throughout the beginning of the season when Barca beat Madrid and Bayern and everything. But now Barca trying to start giving it to Pedri. What this feels a bit like is last season. Madrid. You had Bellingham in the beginning getting all the Ballon d'Or pushes. And then Vini started getting them. And we saw both, I think, Vini and Bellingham in the top 3 last year. But Rodri was the winner. That's something Barca as an institution should not be doing, in my opinion, because you are dividing the votes between your two players. And that was one reason Vinny didn't win it last year, because Vinny got a lot of votes, Bellingham got a lot of votes, and even Dani Carvajal. Obviously, he was part of the Euros team as well, but he also got a lot of votes. So, like, if Barca want one of their players to win a Ballon d'Or, do not do that. That is not a good thing, because Pedri, especially with the recent man of the matches he's been getting, where Raphinha scored the winning goal against Benfica in the first game and then got a 3GA, it's definitely because Laporta has called, UEFA and so on. That's unfortunately how these awards are given out. It's based on PR, it's based on what the club wants, it's based on media controls by the people you know. It's unfortunate, but that's how just, the game is. That's just how the game is. So looking up, these are the potential Ballon d'Or candidates. The interesting thing, obviously, is the Club World Cup. People are either underrating the Club World Cup or overrating it. What we do know is the Club World Cup, the best players, the best teams will be competing there in the summer. A lot of people will be watching it. We also have to include recency bias. It will be closer to the Ballon d'Or ceremony than what the Champions League awards are. Unfortunately for Liverpool and FC Barcelona, their teams are not there, which does hamper Ballon d'Or, push for Raphinha and Pedri. Obviously, it completely kills off Mohamed Salah's Ballon d'Or. He's not going to come anywhere close to it. Maybe they give him, a sympathetic 6th or 5th, but he's not going to win the actual award. That's pretty much impossible, which makes it a bit harder for Barca players to win it, Raphinha and Pedri. But if they win, for example, the Champions League, they've already won the Supercopa. If they win the La Liga, that may be enough, especially depending on what Raphinha and Pedri do for the rest of the campaign and in that important Champions League final. Club World Cup, obviously, you got all the other big teams there, apart from Barca and Liverpool. And that's why, if I had to make a bet for two players to win the Ballon d'Or, I think it's between Ousmane Dembele and Kylian Mbappe. Because as I said, these trophies are given out as a team-associated award. Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain, two favorites in both the World Cup, Club World Cup, and in the UEFA Champions League. They could both reach the semi-final this season, with one of them having to go out. And then I would also have a Raphinha in the mix, depending on if FC Barcelona win the award. But I do think the Club World Cup will have an effect. That's something people should be preparing themselves for. That's something Barca fans have been just running away from because they're not being in the competition. They're like, no, Club World Cup is not going to be anything. It's going to be something. It's going to be something. I can agree with you. Maybe some people are overrating it. But you thinking it's not going to have any effect is just delusional, insecure, and ignorant. So if I had to make a top 4, potentially win the Ballon d'Or, Ousmane Dembele, Raphinha, Kylian Mbappe, and Harry Kane. Harry Kane, very weak. I'm just putting him there to be put there. One of these 4 players will be winning the Ballon d'Or, in my opinion. Then, if I'm going to put my 4 best players this season, who I think should be in this contention, it's Ousmane Dembele, it's Raphinha, it's Pedri, and it's Vitor Ferreira, Vitinha, Machado, Ferreira. Those are my 4 best players this season. And then you have 4, Mbappe, fugaziness, and all of that. He can stink up the pitch how much, but PR will always defend him. So let me know in the comments down below. What are the 4 players you think will be winning the Ballon d'Or, or pick only one? That's been it from my boy PSG, and as usual, allez Paris.